What if they didn't run? What if they were erased? Picture this, a frozen lake at night. Wind scrapes across black ice. A single street lamp hums like a dying insect. What happens when a self-help group doesn't just break you, but builds a system to own you? What happens when your secrets are collected like trophies? When your shame becomes currency? When your growth is measured in obedience? And here's the question that won't leave. How many people tried to escape NXTM's inner circle and felt the air change the moment they did? Not just shunned, not just sued, but silenced through fear, blackmail, psychological captivity, and in some stories, something darker. Tonight, we're stepping into NXIVM's most protected chamber, the inner circle, where loyalty wasn't requested, it was engineered. Chapter 1. The inner circle isn't a room, it's a machine. Picture this, a seminar room, smiling people, name tags, applause. Then, hard cut, an empty hallway with security cameras. NXIVM sold itself as a ladder. Climb the courses, upgrade your life, become ethical, become elite. But hidden behind the corporate language was something colder. A hierarchy built like a pressure chamber. At the top sat Keith Raniere, Vanguard. Around him, trusted lieutenants, financiers, recruiters, protectors, people who didn't just believe, they managed belief. And if you wanted access, status, love, purpose, you didn't simply join, you submitted. Chapter 2. The Collateral, blackmail disguised as commitment. Picture this, a phone screen glowing in darkness. A woman's hands tremble as she types, "I need something damaging to prove you're serious." NXIVM's most infamous control weapon wasn't a gun, it was a folder. They called it Collateral. Nude photos, confessions, real or forced, letters accusing family members of crimes, secrets you never wanted spoken aloud. And here's the psychological horror. Collateral doesn't just threaten you with exposure. It threatens you with identity death. Because once you believe the world will see you as disgusting, criminal, ruined, you stop asking, how do I get out? And start asking, how do I survive inside? That's not self-improvement. That's captivity. Chapter 3, DOS, Obedient Women, and the Bridge to Silencing. Picture this, a candlelit room, whispered oaths, a symbol drawn on paper, then a sizzling brand. The secret subgroup, DOS, often described in court reporting as a master-slave system. Women were recruited under a lie that it was a private empowerment sisterhood. Then came the demands, obedience, labor, extreme dieting, sexual coercion, enforced through collateral and fear. And the branding testimony described women being held down and branded. The mark wasn't just pain, it was ownership made visible. Because once a group can get you to accept that, they don't need chains. They've already trained your mind to police your own escape. If you want more investigations like this, where we map the psychology behind real-world control systems, hit like and subscribe to Behind the Veil Truths. It helps us keep digging where others stop. Chapter 4. Silencing Without Touching You, the Litigation Machine. Picture this, stacks of court papers slam onto a table, a mailbox overflowing, a front door camera catching a car that keeps passing. Here's where NXIVM's inner circle gets modern and terrifyingly relevant. Silencing doesn't always look like a gag. Sometimes it looks like paperwork. Former members and journalists described NXIVM as a group that used lawsuits and legal pressure to punish critics and defectors, dragging people through years of stress, cost, and fear. The effect is the same whether you win or lose. Your savings bleed out. Your reputation becomes controversy. Your friends get scared to associate with you. And your nervous system learns one lesson. Speaking hurts. That's the point. Not to defeat you in court, but to train silence into your bones. Chapter 5. The Inner Circle's Dark Psychology. Why People Didn't Leave. Picture this. A woman staring into a bathroom mirror. She practices a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. People ask, why didn't they just walk away? Because NXIVM didn't just recruit your time. It recruited your meaning. It gave members a mission, a tribe, a ranking system, a villain to hate, critics, and a guru to worship. Then it added cognitive traps. And if you feel pain, you're resisting growth. And if you question leadership, you're unethical. And if you want to leave, you're weak. And once DOS and Collateral enter the story, leaving isn't just hard. Leaving becomes a threat to your future. Chapter 6. Disappearances. What we can say, and what stays in the shadows. Picture this, a corkboard with faces pinned up. Some are crossed out, some have question marks. Now about the word disappearances. There are documentaries and online investigations that claim some women connected to NXDM vanished or died under unusual circumstances, and the full story isn't publicly resolved. One prominent title even frames it as Lost Women. But here's the responsible truth. Not every claim floating around the NXDM orbit is proven in court the way DOS and Collateral were described in testimony and reporting. NXIVM's confirmed record already includes documented coercive control and criminal convictions around the leadership structure. So what do we do with the darker allegations? We treat them the way an investigator would, as separate courtroom fact from contested claim, and follow patterns of behavior that are documented: blackmail, intimidation, legal pressure, and then ask, if a system can silence people socially, financially, psychologically, how far could it go if no one stops it? And that question matters right now because modern coercive groups don't need basements. They need smartphones, shame, and a network that rewards obedience. Chapter 7. The Afterlife of a Cult. Silence that lingers. Picture this: a woman in a quiet apartment watching old footage of seminars. Her finger hovers over post, then deletes. Even after convictions, silence can remain because the inner circle didn't just control actions, it controlled self-perception. Some survivors describe the lingering effects as distrust of their own judgment, a fear of retaliation, and the panic that telling the truth will trigger consequences. And when new media projects and interviews appear, they sometimes reveal how deep that dissociation went, how the mind learns to normalize the unthinkable just to survive it. That's the real shadow. The cult ends on paper, but in the nervous system it keeps breathing. Final convergence. The question that haunts the inner circle. Picture this: a corridor of closed doors. Behind one door, laughter. Behind another, sobbing. Behind another, silence. NXIVM's inner circle built a model of silencing that looks disturbingly modern. Collateral to weaponize shame. Hierarchy to isolate and control. Litigation to exhaust and intimidate. Psychological doctrine to make victims blame themselves. So here's the cliffhanger, because this story has a second layer. What if the most dangerous inner circle weapon wasn't collateral, but information? Who knew what and when? Who kept files? Who managed the enemies list? Who decided which voices got crushed and which ones got spared? Because if you can answer that, you're not just looking at a cult, you're looking at an apparatus. If you want part 2, where we map the inner circle roles, recruiters, enforcers, legal pressure points, and the exact step-by-step pipeline from seminar to submission, like and subscribe to Behind the Veil Truths. Do you think NXTM perfected a blueprint other groups now copy? Which control tactic is the most terrifying to you? Collateral, lawsuits, branding, or the psychological doctrine? And if you were inside, what would it take to make you finally run? Because next time, we go deeper into the pipeline. And we ask a final question the inner circle never wanted asked out loud. Was NXTM a cult that used the legal system, or a legal system that a cult learned to use? Cut to black.